And welcome to East County Prep Football Preview Series. I'm Ramon Scott, joined by Dave Dickens of EastCountySports.com. Dave, it's time to visit with the Grossmont Foothillers. And Dave, they said that, they ran through a practice. It felt like a real thing today. And with the schools moving into Tier 3 tomorrow, or Stage 3, we're going to go back to school 2 more days a week. Getting close to that date, Dave, just a couple of weeks away from some high school football. The news is looking better every day.
Yeah, those the way that they're talking about the numbers, and they're just they're dropping down like nobody's business. So I think we're exactly where we want to be now. Finally, I mean, here we are talking about it in March, and like we said, we're going to have a little bit of more of an overlap than we've ever seen. Not just football, but baseball is going to run into football possibly too, or run into basketball real quick. I mean, head on. So it's going to be challenging. I'm sure Coach Karlo could tell you. I mean, with all the COVID protocols and all the staff meetings that he's been taking part in, probably daily and nightly, quite a few hours, and all the prep work is probably something you never experienced. I mean, definitely more than putting a game plan together, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of things we got to do to get this thing off the ground. A lot of things we got to do to continue to make it. And I'm most proud of the kids. These players. I mean, they've gone through a lot. What they got to wear, how they got to be social distance, how they got to kind of go through these protocols to do what they've always done in a normal fashion. So I'm lucky these guys have fallen directions pretty well, and we've kind of, after even the first day, we've fallen into it pretty good. But there's definitely a lot of things you got to do to get to that Friday night. But our guys are willing to do it because obviously we're excited to have at least 5 games and have somewhat of a season.
Yeah, Dave, and having 5 games for these seniors, and joining us, seniors from the Grossmont Foothillers, the leading returning tackler from the team, Blake KEELING, and quarterback Justin Brown. He teased baseball a little bit. Justin's going to be busy running a couple of sports. Dave and the Grossmont Foothillers still talks to Coach Karlo in the green room a little bit. We're still trying to get this schedule together and see who we're going to play and everything, but man, it's not about that at this point, Dave. Every game is going to be a championship for these guys each and every week, and I think that goes for all of our teams this year. Blake, you mentioned how patient you've been kind of to get there, but it rocked all of our worlds. But just from a personal perspective, how did you feel getting your football taken away in your senior year, brother?
It was really bad. For a while, I was really sad. Like, football was like my number one thing I did. It was like my passion that I really concentrated on. So when you take that away from somebody, they got to find a new hobby. They got to find new stuff. How to make a new schedule. I don't know. It was just really hard. But I'm glad I can play now. So.
Yeah.
Now,
Justin,
Blake,
go ahead, Dave. Thank you.
Blake, were you able to say get together, have any get-togethers like away from the school, and work out with a couple of your fellow teammates, and kind of hold each other accountable and make sure that you're keeping your strength up and doing your cardio and keeping yourself hold each other accountable is what I'm getting at. Did you have a couple of those players, a couple of teammates?
I think you're muted.
Okay. Blakey. There you go. Oh. Okay.
I'm trying to read his lips, but it's a little
Hopefully
far.
he said something good.
Yeah. I'm going to type him a little note. Justin, can you expand on a little bit, though?
Yeah.
Justin Brown, quarterback. Justin Brown, quarterback of the Grossmont Foothillers, talking about a guy who's been patient, waiting for his chance. Go ahead, Justin. Help us out.
Like Blake said, it was hard, but we got our workouts in. We with Coach Karlo, we probably worked out once a week and worked on the weight room for school. And we always try to put meetings together to run some routes and stay in shape and stay strong. But it was just hard to hold that hope, and it's finally good to get these games in.
And does that give you Coach Carlo, does that give you a little more time to adjust the playbook or add some more plays, work on? I mean, you got all that time or a little more time in your hands. Is it? I mean, like more of a fine tuning of those special plays that maybe you haven't used in the past that you would typically use? Because I mean, in the past, I mean, you've had some real strong arms, so you've been able to go you throw the ball quite a bit and throw the ball pretty far downfield. Not to mention you've always had a quarterback with a good pair of legs. So did we kind of fine tune that? Did it allow open the playbook a little bit more?
For us, I think what it did is it kind of cleared up some of the language that we use, and it also kind of, clarified some things in our own minds on how to teach things. And I feel like we're teaching things a lot better. So as coaches, we got better in just fine tuning how we were approaching it with the players. And, we've been fortunate at Grossmont, my 9 years here, to have, 3 starting quarterbacks, Anthony Lawrence, Hunter Gaines, and Jamie Odom that all threw for over 6,000 yards. And I would say Justin Brown's probably right up there with him. Just unfortunately, he was behind an all-CIF player last year. And, wanting to see a season for guys like that is really what this is about. I'm really excited to see him play. But, to touch on your question, it was more about getting with the players and making sure how we were teaching things and what they wanted to do and how they were seeing things. That's what this gave us. And I think a lot of teams were doing that. You were really kind of diving into what you did and how the players felt about it. And we've changed and tweaked a few things that, guys have over the years have talked about that we never really had a chance to. And when you have 15 months off, that's all the time you need. So it's helped us that way. I feel like we're much more efficient as a program, specifically as an offense. But, the real thing that it did was it created a situation where I was really hopeful that we get a chance to see these seniors play. So that was the biggest thing that I took from this was, please, I don't care if it's in March, April, or May, let us play. Let these guys have something.
And not to mention, Coach, I don't want to take any glory away from the seniors, but I think that these 6 games are going to be very crucial to your juniors too. Most definitely for their future, really, and whether it be in athletics or utilizing their athletic performance to get into some of these D1, D2 schools, and have and major in something that they're real passionate about, or continue to play football and end up in the NFL. I mean, we never know, but I think that it's fortunate that the juniors have at least those 6 games to put on film. You agree?
Definitely, it's good for those guys. We were lucky enough where, like, Blake Keeling, he's got an offer from Pacific Lutheran University. Robert Tucker signed with Cornell. Matt Diaz, a safety we have, has an offer from Arizona Christian University. And Justin Brown over here, he had some schools wanting to look at him until we couldn't get anything. So I'm hoping that it helps these seniors, but without question, it's going to help these juniors get something on tape and something out so that they can be recruited their senior year. It's unfortunate the guys right now don't have that and we're in March, but we've been fortunate that some of our guys who were really good in the classroom have had those opportunities. And like I said, I think a guy like Justin Brown will get these 5 games and kind of show what he can do, and we'll see, what comes of that. But this has been crucial for both levels, juniors and seniors. So it's good that we're having it.
Let me just check in on our technical issue. Blake, can you hear me right now? Oh, I can. He can hear us. It sounds like. Blake, we're not hearing you. Can you just click the mic, or if it doesn't? No, not yet. Blake, how about go out and come back in possibly? I'll check it on my end as well. We're not going to cut you off the show. Just go out of the show and I'll bring you right back in. There we all right. Blake's coming back. Don't worry about it. We kind of teased a little bit in the green room about who we were going to mention and who we were going to talk about. And Coach, you said we were going to kind of tease Robert a little bit and not give him the silent treatment on this show. And I guess that just shows how much you guys have an affinity for, your star player coming back. And let's give him the respect he deserves, the Cornell-bound Tucker, 2,000 yards of total offense last year. Justin, he's an awesome weapon for you to have. But even though, you lost your mentor as a quarterback last year in Odom and your top receiver in Schicker, you got 2 unheralded receivers coming back, Chris Cherzan, Adam Richmond. Probably still pretty exciting for you to have a weapon like Robert, but 2 receivers who, surprisingly, if you look at the stats, returning 40-plus catches, I believe, around there combined, which is pretty good for losing a guy who caught over 60 balls on the team, Justin.
Yeah, but Adam and Chris are definitely very slept on around, and I think they're great weapons at the slot, and they just are all around good players, good leaders as seniors, and they just do everything right on the football field.
And Blake, if we can hear you, Blake,
Hey guys,
I wanted you to comment on.
Awesome.
Let's go. I wanted you to comment on the defense in particular, and the returners and the young blood coming up, and what you think overall as far as the secondary, your big guys up front.
So this year, we got a pretty solid defense. We got Matt Diaz behind as the safety. He's leading our safeties and DBs, and we also have Dante Cassiano coming back. So everything behind me is looking good. So, and then we got Kyle Zollner on the line. He's always been my buddy. But we're looking really good. Like, we got a pretty solid defense. I'm really excited.
And I got to say, and I know this has nothing to do with everybody on the screen, but I sure hope we got your announcer back this year. He better be up there in that booth, because I'll tell you what, if there's one thing I love about every Grossmont game that I attend myself, I would tell you hands down, and I hope it's not offensive to anybody else's announcer, but I mean, he is hands down one of the best announcers that you guys could ever have gotten a hold of. I mean, he really brings the action to you.
Yeah,
he's back. Come to Grossmont game just to listen to Mr. Lawrence do the PA.
Yeah,
I thought.
Yeah, he's back. He's great in the community. He headed our Foothiller Foundation, which was our fundraising arm of our school. He headed that for a few years, amongst other things. But he's back, and just as excited as these guys are for the season.
Man, he really brings it. I mean, I think even to you guys as players, on the sidelines, if the scoreboard says something you're not liking, he just, I don't know, he's got that motivational voice and the loudness and the excitement. I mean, he could bring the whole crowd, he could bring a quiet Foothiller crowd up real quick. And it's just amazing how he's able to rally from his little box there. I just thought I would give a shout out to him, because he's phenomenal.
One of the best.
He's amazing.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Hey, guys, coming off a pretty successful season, I'd say, last year with our 3-2 record. We won the games maybe we were supposed to. Kind of fight through and get those other ones. Like I said, we don't know. We know the group we're going to play kind of this season. Blake, some familiar opponents. What is it going to be like just on a week-by-week approach? Look, I know we're disappointed if there's no league championship or whatever, and I'm trying to sell it as a championship game every week, but I don't think it's an understatement. Every opportunity to get on this field, considering what we've all been through over this last year, is just I wouldn't even describe as an opportunity, but a blessing.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a blessing. Any chance to play football is an A in my book. So it doesn't matter who we play. I'm always going to show up and try my best. So I'm super excited to play this year.
And speaking of passion, and I know that you two gentlemen have it too, but Coach, I got to give you your due too. The passion, and I've talked with other coaches about it too. The passion you bring to the game, whether you're winning or losing, I'll tell you what, you really bring it, and I think you bring it in a positive way that your guys are very receptive, and I think that's one of the reasons that the coaching staff does so well interacting with your players year in and year out. just because you are so passionate about the game of football and about the kids that you're tutoring, if you will, to be better players.
Appreciate that. One of the things we got at Grossmont is we got a great system, and Justin and Blake will tell you we got great freshman coaches from Neil LaRussa and Randy Sanks up to Coach Valdez on JV, up to all of our varsity assistants. It's a real good program, and these guys have came up in every step, and they've had a winning season on every level they've been on, and so it's just it's nice for the community for us to have all this, and it makes my job as the head varsity coach easy when you got guys like Justin and Blake in the program, but mostly when you got good support around you. So we're very, very lucky in that way at Grossmont.
Justin, the way you followed in the footsteps of Jamie over these year or so, year plus really, you've been the quarterback in waiting, and Coach Karlo mentioned, if you were at another school or something, you'd be the starter there. I mean, that's just a fact. So what has it been like playing behind such a top quarterback as he had last year, knowing that, your opportunity had to wait for this year? Put the pandemic aside and try to tell me what your focus was prior to all of this happening and taking over for Jamie, because everyone knows you've been the quarterback in waiting, and we wanted to see you. We're going to get that chance. Yeah. Tell me about that.
It's just exciting to finally play, and Jamie was a great role model and leader to me, and just looking up to him and watching him playing what he do was really inspiring, and he was just great. And it's finally my chance, and it's pretty exciting.
Now, are you still in contact with Jamie?
Yeah, we throw routes every now and again, and I see him in the weight room up at Grossmont, and he's always just around, just picking my brain. I'm picking his about everything. He's a great friend of mine through baseball. I've known him since I was probably 6th grade, and his entire family, and they're just amazing. And James is just an amazing role model to me.
Well, this is about this year's team, but Coach, I have to ask about Jamie's future, because nothing to sneeze at. The school that he decided to start out in his college career, I mean, that's a pretty awesome step. We think of the junior college level, but going to a team like he disappointing. We're not going to see any junior college football, but you got to think he's got a career path going, given his choice.
He had a lot of options. He had a third walk-on option at UCLA. He had a academic scholarship to USD, and he went on a trip to Division II Colorado Mesa, which is a real good school. And he decided he wanted to take that JC route and try and improve his stock, so to speak. So he's just been working with us because they've been off. They're on distance learning as well at the JC level, so he's been throwing and working out with us. And one thing Justin Brown mentioned was how kind of quarterbacks learn from each other. And the amazing thing for me is how similar these guys all are in terms of what they do. I think they kind of do a great job of morphing into the position that we need, and that's what Jamie did, because he didn't play quarterback until he was a freshman, and that's what Justin has done. So you see Jamie throw for 3,000 and rush for 1,000. I was fully confident that Justin could do the same. I mean, I really was. Unfortunately, it's not going to be all that because we only have 5 games, but I definitely think you're going to see very similarities in their games, and that's just a testament to the kind of athletes they are and kids they are. But I was very much looking forward to seeing Jamie play at RCC, Riverside Community College, under Tom Kraft, and I hope he gets that chance next fall and everything's kind of back to normal, because I love to drive up there and catch a game.
Yeah, no, Jamie, might as well start at the top, right? I mean, if you're talking about the junior college level, it doesn't get any better than that. Dave, Coach Karlo mentioned the program and everything, but he's kind of a quarterback whisperer in a way. He's kind of grooming the same guys over these years. He knows it, but he's humble enough to pass along the credit. But you just see the type of offense that Grossmont instills every year, as long as the quarterbacks keep within their abilities, and boy, they do a great job over there. No reason why, just not going to keep rolling over there at Grossmont.
Well, you know what? I think what we're forgetting about is the offensive line, though. We got to give that. I mean, that's where it starts. It starts in the trenches. And I was going to throw that out to you, JB, if you could maybe throw some key names out and some guys that you really. When you line up with them, that you feel very confident in.
Last names, if you know them, Justin. We'll get Karlo clean it up.
our two returning starters, Ray Crandall and Matt Sanchez, they're just amazing. They really do it all. They can get down and dirty, and I can trust them with my life. And then we got Brian Jurgen as our center. He's amazing. And John Warder, the left tackle. And our right tackle is up for grabs right now, but it's a good battle we got going there. But our line's amazing, and I trust those boys with everything.
It's really exciting because these guys, Blake, JB, they've kind of stayed together from freshman to sophomore to junior year, now to senior year. So that offensive line that he's got, two of them were starters last year, but the other two have been playing with both these guys. And Blake touched on it earlier. We've got a bunch of defensive guys that played a lot of football last year. We went 8-4. And so I think, for me as a coach, this was one of the years that I was, I'm excited for every year, but this was one of the years I was really looking forward to seeing, us do what we do, which is, win a lot of games and go deep in the playoffs. But, I thought this could be a special year. So these 5 games for me, hopefully we'll see our guys out there and it'll confirm what we thought all along, because we think we got a real good group of seniors. We got a bunch of juniors coming up from a 10-0 JV, and we've got a lot of guys that can run on that defensive front 7. And we're excited for them. Guys like Brendan Sanders and Ryan Odom and Kevin Howard and Thomas Warsaw. We got D linemen like Julian Jardine and, guys that are just Joe Holenstein. We got guys that are just, chomping to get out there. And it's just really fun because all these guys have come up through the ranks winning games. And, that winning mentality goes a long way.
Yeah, Blake, I just want to say, Blake, those returners, those numbers on the D, I mean, you guys were looking forward to something special. Anything that happened with the defense, some of those games, had our moments, had some tough ones, but it looked like the group that you had this year, it would look like it is going to be, now that we're going out there, an improved defense. It's hard to say when you guys still got so much talent.
Yeah. We really got like everybody, every position we got pretty stacked. So we have 3 layers to each position with all really, really solid teammates and players. So our defense is looking pretty good. I'm really excited to play with them.
Go ahead, Dave.
I was just going to say, I know we got Tucker, but I wanted to see if, we could also throw some new blood in there and give them some credit also that we got coming out of the backfield.
Yeah, well, let's touch on that. We talked about those other receivers, those good receivers that Justin has back. And look, Robert accounted for over 2,000 yards. And the incredible stat, I think everyone kind of overlooks, 20 touchdowns, 10 receiving, 10 rushing. I mean, that's kind of record-setting stuff in a way. But Robert has had a couple of injuries over his career that's kind of, I wouldn't say limited. You look at the stats he had last year, Coach, and maybe you could talk about him again a little bit more, but talk about some of the other backs as well. But I just want to give, Robert his due too, because we can't wait to see him get out there for these couple of games and prove what he knows he can do.
Well, Robert's very versatile. He can catch, he can run. You can see it by his stats last year. He had 900-something receiving yards, 1,000 rushing yards. Our JV running back coming up, a kid named Daniel Flores, is just as dynamic in terms of he can really run it and he can catch it as well. We've got some real good young receivers: Nate Acevedo, Ryan Roddick, Jawad Rivera, Elijah Williams. We also got some seniors coming in. Jay Van, who caught 7 balls last year. Bryce Michelazzi, who also played decent amount last year. Dennis. We got a nice blend of guys, and it sucks we only have 1 ball.
Yeah,
because I'd like to get it to him more. Even our JV quarterback coming up, Trenton Giles. He reminds me a lot of where Justin was as a junior, where he was really getting better behind a senior, and kind of taking that time to really improve. I mean, Justin threw for 68% completion last year, I think. I mean, just whenever we put him in regular games, we were playing Modern Day, and we just put him in, just to put him in to give him work. So the experience we have on offense, some of those new guys coming in, you want that blend. Any good college football team is going to have a blend of young and old guys, and that's what we have. And we also have a lot of versatile guys. We got guys on offense that can play running back, slot, outside. We got a guy like Blake who's going to play linebacker and D-line. We've got some linebackers that are cover guys that are also going to be in the box. that we mentioned earlier. So the versatility we have really helps out. What I like the most is we had 62 guys there today. So a lot of these guys have stuck with it and stuck around. So we're hoping to play a lot of people, not get too many guys, not tire them out too much because we haven't done anything in a long time. But most of all, just, kind of see what we thought we were going to have and give these seniors a great 5 games. I think everybody wants to play right now and have fun, but I tell you what, when 7 o'clock Friday night comes, these guys want to win. They want to. They haven't had it in a while, and they're going to want to win. So we're looking forward most to that Friday night, 7 o'clock, that first kickoff, and getting that sense of football back.
And that's a question that I was going to ask you earlier is, because of the duration of the lull that we had and pushing everything back up, is to have a deep roster still and to have those bench guys you could go to at any moment with any injury that should come about. Unfortunately, it's just part of the game, but it sounds to me like that you're going to have a pretty deep squad too, just for the amount of games that you guys are going to play. And from what I'm understanding, you pretty talented backups too, or bench, however you want to put it.
Yeah, Coach, expand. Maybe if there's any program that we can kind of gauge. You mentioned everybody's still in it to play and want to continue. And I think if there's any program that we can kind of draw a conclusion, it might be yours because of the sheer numbers that you get year in and year out. You mentioned everybody's still in it. What kind of return or decline did you see because of the events? A percentage of the team, maybe seniors. This is just a general. I'm not talking about any individual. Percentage of the players that decided not to play.
Well, I think I was lucky because, the guys that are with me here, Justin Brown and Blake Keeling, did a real good job of setting a kind of standard of which, we were going to work out, and they were there, and we were working out, and they were doing it, and they were, keeping up with all the things that, not missing, staying excited about it. And so by other guys taking their leadership, we've only got today, we only had one guy that didn't show up, and he's been emailing me and texting me about trying to get back into it the best he can. I've had a lot of, stories of other schools losing a lot of seniors, but I think it gives Blake and Justin credit that they were able just to show up every day and do their work and show great examples for the other guys. So we were lucky. We didn't lose a lot of guys. Naturally, on the lower levels, you have some guys that kind of fall off the wayside because they're not kind of bought in yet like you'd like them. So we're suffering there a little bit. We're still going to run 3 levels, freshman, JV, and varsity, because we can. But I was really lucky to have these seniors there to kind of lead us, and we were able, knock on wood, to keep just about every player with us to keep us over 60, which is, where we wanted to be and, where we hope to be as a healthy program. So I give a lot of credit to the seniors for sticking together, because this has been a long time to stick together. They've had to do this since last March. And in April, we were doing Zooms. And in May, we were doing Zooms. In June and July, we were on the field a little bit. In August, we weren't. In September, we were – oh, man. It's been tough. Right. So I've been lucky to have those guys, but we've been pretty good on the varsity level. We've lost very few guys, and if we do, they're trying to get, their work schedules covered so they can get back out there, and I want to see them play even if it is 5 games.
Right. And Blake, it's been a kind of a general thing that people have said, not only in some of our interviews over the last year, we've been doing shows, Dave, without any sports, but they say that the student athletes are in the best shape they could be in. Now, I find it hard to believe I'm getting weaker, smaller, paler here indoors over the last year. But how about you guys? You can only lift so many weights. You can only run through so many tires, man. Is it true, though? Are the athletes in the best shape coming into this season? Did they really get the workout that they need over this time, especially alone a lot of times?
Well, I think we did. We hit a good mark on our healthiness scale. Most of our team wasn't gassed or anything at practice. We looked pretty good. But no, thanks to our coaches, Coach Candy, Coach Cervantes, and Coach Tuck. They definitely kept us in shape and ready for the season. So thank you to them.
Our first two workouts we did when we found out we were back, in an hour and a half we ran 96 7-on-7 plays in less than an hour. And these guys, we didn't have one guy falling out. We had nobody puking. So Blake's right. We definitely, as coaches, we were happy to see these guys, whatever they did on their own, they took it serious enough where, we could have a situation we kind of hit the ground running. And today on our first, day, we didn't have pads on, but we had helmets on. We ran, I think, 80-something plays in an hour and 20 minutes. So these guys are in good enough shape where we're able to get what we need to get with that 5-game season. So as a coach, I was very happy for these guys that they did it. And like I said, it takes great senior leadership to do that.
Justin, how do you balance your time being a standout in multiple sports, especially with baseball season right around the corner? How do you delegate your time working out in each discipline to be ready for both seasons? I guess football a little more focused now, but how about all those months that we didn't even know what we were going to be doing? So how do you allot your time to your baseball and your football?
It's just good coaches. Our baseball coach and Coach Carlo, they communicate, and the multiple sport athletes communicate with Coach Carlo and just let them know that we have other sports and that we have to go to them, and we just communicate and we just make it work.
But how about your personal time in working on your craft? How much time might you spend a day, throwing routes or finding some friends to catch some routes? Or how often might you work on things that will help keep you in shape for baseball? Your time personally?
I probably did about once a day working out or throwing routes with Tucker or using Adam Richmond and Chris out there, or baseball. We practice a little bit for baseball, a little more than football because it's a little easier because not so many guys. But a lot of time spent on the field working out, running routes, getting our time down, just trying to stay in shape for when we finally got open to play, and we finally do. So we're pretty excited.
Our baseball and football field are right next to each other, so we would have offensive days for football and defensive days for football. And on the defensive day, I'd just look over and see, 4 or 5 of my receivers and Justin on the baseball field, and I'd just kind of wave to them, and on offensive days, they're with me today. We were towards the end of practice, and they had a baseball game. So, once JB was done with his reps, he's sprinting into the locker room to get to baseball. And we're going to try to do our walkthroughs in the morning. So the afternoons, these guys can go play their games, when they start kind of having baseball games during the week. And I talked with our baseball coach, and he's going to schedule games on Saturday instead of Friday, and we won't have anything going on Saturday, so they can do that. So I'm happy they can do both. But the main thing I'm happy about is just the fact that I couldn't imagine, and you guys are the same, us old guys, I couldn't imagine not having my senior year. I have a lot of fond memories of playing sports and doing everything. So at least this is something, and we as coaches do not want to get in their way. We want them to enjoy everything they have. And then you got guys like Blake who went out and got a job, which is very common. And so, he's got to move his schedule around, and we've got to, help him with that, give him the time. So if you want to make this work and make this worth your while, you got to be flexible and you got to adjust. We practiced for an hour and a half today. That's all we're going to do because guys got other things, and we recognize that. So it's something that I'm happy that as a community in Grossmont, we were able to do that, where these guys can get what they need to get done, and at the same time do all the things that they should be doing during their senior year.
Well, and you got great coaches, I think, that have had longevity. I mean, and even with your vice principal, your principal, I mean, they were sports players too. I mean, but especially you and Jordan. I mean, you guys have been doing it for a long time. So, I mean, you guys recognize what you need to do. It probably isn't a struggle at all. I mean, you guys have done it for so long, and I know we had to tweak things a little bit this year, just because of all the things that took place. But the bottom line, I mean, Justin and Blake, I mean, you and Coach, I mean, Ramon, we're where we need to be at finally. I mean, we stayed the course. Everybody stayed the course. I mean, honestly, when I saw the tweet that Ramon sent me, I was in disbelief still, because I was like, they're gonna move it back. They just keep moving it back, and to finally get the official word, though. I mean, come on, so many states out there already playing for so long, in California with the population we have. I mean, I know players up and down our state were like, you know, we got our hands up, just going, "Come on, man!" I mean, it's way overdue, but that doesn't matter now. We're where we're at, where we need to be at, and whether it be 6 games, 5 games, I think we should just, as we said before, it's a blessing that we can even go out there. You guys can go play, coach. You can go out there and coach your team, and we can go out there and watch the action. We can record the action. We can write about the action. I mean, all of us. It's a win-win situation, and I think it's healthy for people. Sports, I think, brings more people together than anything in the world, especially when things aren't going exactly as they should, and especially in the middle of a pandemic. To be able to play sports, I think those good 3 hours to be able to get your mind on something that's, you know what, I'm just going to relax, enjoy this, and we can all enjoy it as a community and just forget about that pandemic for a minute or anything to do with the news and everyday life. I think it's the most healthy thing for all of us, not only physically, but mentally.
You know, Dave, it's funny way you mentioned it. And when we talked to the Patriots last night, and I said, Coach Tommy, I said, you know, how do you sell to the seniors that this is not season 2020B? And how do you sell to the juniors that this is not season 2021A? And after I got done with the show, I thought, you know, it really wasn't a great question because we're not going to have any problem selling this concept to these seniors. You mentioned it, Tommy, when they came out and ran 97 plays and nobody is complaining and getting winded. It happens to kids too. When you take something away and you give it back, and we're all going to embrace it with such enthusiasm. But any semblance of truth to what I say, that any way that these seniors could lack any motivation at all because of just having the 5 games, or is that built up energy just going to make it? I just imagine, you know, gave me chills when you said that first Friday night at 7:00. Maybe we've taken it for granted when we go out there the first game. We say, well, great, another season. This is exciting. I'm glad to be here. Probably going to have goosebumps that first night for the first time, probably since your first year as a head coach at Mount McKell.
Here's what I think is going to happen. These guys haven't been to school, realistically, since last March. And there's something to be said about the football buildup when you get there in August and the first week and you see everybody, and the first time you wear your jersey to school, and the first time you kind of see people in the hallways talking about it, and you're seeing your teammates talk about it. We haven't had any of that. So I think what's going to happen is when we finally put on those brand new Nike uniforms we got on Friday night, I think I'm going to have to kind of calm these guys down because there hasn't been anything. Honestly, there hasn't been anything to get excited about. In February, I was thinking about how I was going to talk to these seniors about how sorry I was that they weren't going to have a senior year. And then 2 weeks later, it totally flipped. So I'm looking forward to seeing these guys when they really feel that first bit of school spirit and or that first bit of competitive juice. I'm really looking forward to seeing that. And then as a coach, I got to remind these guys to tone it down a little bit because we don't want to we don't want to go nuts before we get to the field. But I just think all that stuff that's been lacking is going to all come back out on that first Friday night when we play West Hills at our house at 7:00. And I'm excited for them to see that, seeing their faces and just seeing them get back to what should be a normal type year for them. That's when it's going to hit. So I'm looking forward to that.
Dave, when one of these kids gets in the end zone, I might run up there and do a chest bump after a touchdown. Right there in the end zone. People say, what is that goofball doing?
Yeah.
Well, at least you're not making all that money that the guy made on the Super Bowl running for Ricky to setting that up. Now that's genius.
That's a genius. So smart.
Blake, so tell me, like I said, no problem with these. Look, I'm sorry to all the seniors what's happened, but the pent-up energy and I don't think it's going to be any different those 5 weeks.
I don't think it's gonna be any different than it would be a regular season. It'd probably be more exciting than our regular games. I I'm just so grateful that I get to play now. And our first practice was today, and I was so nervous. I was shaking. I was so ready to hit somebody.
That's cool.
I get all this pent up energy, and I just need to hit somebody. But I'm so grateful to be able to play, and I'm just super happy.
It's like even being at practice is just different. Just being out there.
Yeah.
Like, we haven't had that in months, and just being out there having practice just feels like so surreal. It's just amazing. And I can't imagine what the game's going to feel like.
Can only imagine, Tommy, that this is going on throughout the whole county. The kids all feel the way these two do.
Yeah, I'm going to have a hard time getting mad when Justin Brown throws his first touchdown and goes absolutely nuts because he's so excited. Or Blake Keeling gets his first sack and does a 5-minute sack dance and gets a flag. I don't know how mad I'm going to be because it'll be really happy for me to see these guys enjoy themselves after what we've done. So I hope they don't, but at the same time, as coaches and referees, I hope we understand that there's a lot of pent up stuff with these guys, and I hope we let them enjoy it as much as we can.
That's what Coach Mitchell was saying last night too. He said it's going to be really tough to get upset, with them celebrating like that. I mean, it's been so long.
Hey, as long as we don't rub it into the other team and celebrate with our teammates, I'll be very lenient on what we get because I'll take a 15-yarder to see some of these guys enjoy themselves because I've been with them for about 9 months now, and there hasn't been a lot of enjoyment, to be honest with you. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Hey, Dave, I won't put these guys on the spot. We just want to take every game and celebrate it week by week, but we know who the Grossmont Foothillers play, and we know what they think of them and their opponents think of them. And you know what? Throw in the pandemic. I don't know who can win between these 4 teams week in and week out. Even that green team up on the top of the charts that's come out so far in their kind of usual spot. But hey, I don't know. When you throw in the pandemic, I think everyone kind of said that throughout sports so far since its return. And I don't know, we've kind of seen it at some of the other levels. I'll mention to you, Dave, in the FCS football this past week, 9 of the underdogs won the 16 games outright. So anything can happen between the Eagles, the Cougars, the Highlanders, and the Foothillers, Dave.
I think all of them, actually. I think that, they all have the talent at every position. A lot of them are very senior heavy. And I think that, any of them, if there were a league championship, I would bet on all of them because they all are the talent in that Hills division is just amazing. I mean, and Coach, you know that too. I mean, because you talk to the other coaches. I mean, the kids that we have in the Hills, and for the Valley, for that matter too. I mean, so many great kids and great talent in the East County this year.
Yeah, I think our league is strong, and I don't think our players would want it any other way. We're looking forward to playing good teams we know, teams that the guys have grown up, near or with some of these guys on the other teams in our league. So I think it's all a situation where these guys are excited to play, and on top of that, we get to play teams we know and that we've wanted to play or we've played every year. So it's going to be not only exciting to get back on the football field, get back to some of the games that you really want to play each and every year.
Blake, you know these opponents well. I'm sure there's no reason to single any one of them out. For you guys as players, there's no check mark on this schedule, I would assume. These are all rivalries.
Yes, they are. Whenever we play Granite, Helix, or Steel Canyon, we know that both sides are going to go for heads. So, I mean, it's like that every single season. It doesn't matter if it's COVID or not. Like those teams, like they're out for each other. So, I mean, I'm ready to play against them. So it's going to be fun.
Yeah, this will be a season like no other. We try to make it as special as we can for this group, Dave. Like I said, I think that the circumstances will take care of it themselves. We will celebrate this class maybe like no other in the end. Oh, still with me, Dave?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if you want to elaborate on that. If I got you, I know I can get Coach Karlo too, but I just wanted to, say we don't need to motivate these seniors necessarily at any school. That'll take care of itself.
No, for sure. I mean, just the attitude altogether from every single player that we've had on. I mean, we even had former players like Nathan Hughes. He just decided to chime in about Pat Kelly coaching over at Christian High School. I mean, I just think that the game of football. I don't just say in East County, but in Southern California, in the United States, I think has become one of the even at the high school level, it's become so much bigger than it was. I would even say go on a limb and say 30 years ago. And I think that this season in particular is going to be so special that these kids are going to remember it. Win or lose these 6 games, they're going to remember it for the rest of their lives. They're going to be talking to their grandkids about it. It is going to be a very special season. It's going to be 2021 is going to be the year that the United States citizens and at the high school level in particular rose up and played the game. We beat the pandemic and we rode off into the sunset. I mean, it's going to be a great story at the end. I'm telling you, that's it. It's a good example of that is Peyton Manning. The way he had a rough season arm wise, but he was still the sheriff, and he had a great defense behind him, and to still ride off into the sunset and get his Lombardi with two different clubs, first person to do it. And then what did he say? I think he even said, they asked him what he was going to do. He wasn't going to go to Disneyland. He was going to go have a few Budweisers. I think that's what he said. Something to that effect. But you get what I'm saying. I mean, I think this is going to be a very special year from coaches to press to players. I mean, all of us are so excited, and it's going to be a special year, and we're going to remember it the rest of our lives.
No doubt about it, Dave. No doubt about it. Thank you very much to the Grossmont Foothillers.
Absolutely.
Coach Tommy Karlo, thank you so much. And your enthusiasm is infectious, brother, getting us all excited. We've done a few of these shows. Now I'm really fired up, ready to get out there. And you said it, Dave. I think you couldn't have said it any better, because getting out there for that first game, I think week by week, the reduction in the pandemic, if you will, is going to coincide with each week of the football season moving forward. These numbers, barring any circumstances, it'll probably send us indoors for the rest of our lives. We're going to get better and better each week. We're getting healthier, and each game we complete is going to be closer to where we want to be coming out of it, almost by the end of the school year, really. But
no circumstances. We aren't going to have any circumstances. Everything's smooth sailing from here, and you can quote me on that. All right,
that's right.
We are going to ride off into that sunset, and we're going to enjoy the rest of 2021, and it's going to go down as one of the better years in athletics. That's it. I just dropped the mic. All right.
And we'll get out of here with that and look forward to seeing the Grossmont Foothillers and what are going to be some great games in still the Grossmont Hills League. We may have mythical champion at the end, and whoever it is, we'll celebrate them as such, but we'll celebrate all these teams just getting out there against senior Blake Keeling, heading up the Foothiller defense this year, quarterback Justin Brown, the senior, heading up that offense, and Coach Tom Karlo, he's heading up all of us at this point, Dave. Thanks, Tommy, for that, and we'll see you out there. Dave, thank you so much for a great show with the Grossmont Foothillers. We'll catch you again. East County Sports Report, Prep Football Preview.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it for having me.
Thank you.